Hello DGens. So with patch 1.4, the first arc of the story has essentially like fully MCU'd and wrapped up, and we've also been introduced to the pinnacle, the apex of all characters, Void Hunter, Hoshimi, Miyabi. And I just wanted to take some time today to talk through this because I think what happens next is going to drastically change the future of the game from a gameplay perspective. Now, if you are more casual and you're just like collecting waifus and husbandos and just being chilling. Now, before I get into it, I want to be very clear, right? This game, Zenless, is absolutely in top 2 gachas for me right now. And I want to make it very clear that I am not doom posting it, but I absolutely do think it's worth a discussion, especially for those of you who are not very well acquainted with the developers MiHoYoverse. So with all of that said, let me introduce the context. So with the release of Miyabi, the power level of DPS units has reached, let's say, like new heights, right? It's kind of like, oh, so this is what MiHoYoverse is willing to do. Oh god, is that Powercreep? And so as most of you have experienced, the game has gotten therefore significantly easier in some aspects. Now, let me take a little bit of kind of history from MiHoYoverse's previous works. The first, as most of you know, is Genshin Impact, and I'm not going to talk about Honkai Impact 3rd because that's kind of like a different era, so let's just start with Genshin. And so with Genshin, they have a really similar system, right? It's always the bloody 7. They love the number 7. And so their equivalent of like the 7 Void Hunters or whatever, that kind of apex level, are the Archons, the gods, right? And each of them have been quite strong, really strong and impactful. That being said though, throughout the life of the game, the power level hasn't like really drastically increased like that. It's been more of like a little bit flatter. It is certainly increasing in terms of like the more modern characters. They certainly are better, but they're not better by like 2 times or anything. They're maybe better by like 30 to 40 to 50% over 5 years. And then we've got the Archons, who are kind of outliers because they're like the Archons, they are the chosen ones. They're about like, let's say like for argument's sake, about 30%, 40% better than the rest of the normal characters. So what happens here is then the Genshin team has to design content for those characters, right? And for the most part, a lot of characters still really hold up. Like for me personally, I'm still using like launch 4-star characters. And so it's just been a really nice experience because even to this day, I still get to use my Raiden Shogun, and she is still very relevant. And I love her. And for you fellow MiHoYo slaves out there, I think you know where I'm going with this, right? And that is, then we've got the next game, Honkai Star Rail. They kind of went down a different path. And they've got like their apex characters as well. They've got the Emanators and whatever, right? But in general, the difference in power between the last character and every subsequent one is on average higher than the change that Genshin goes through. So for example, maybe like with every single character, like every year, maybe the characters are 20% better than last year's. For Honkai Star Rail, it's like probably more like 50%, 60%, 70% better. That's kind of the scale that we're talking about, right? And so again, they have to design their content around that, right? And so this has led to a phenomenon that a lot of people refer to as HP inflation, which essentially means in the endgame mode, the timed combat mode, so for us in Zenless, it's Shiyu Defense, the bosses have way more HP than before, sometimes even 2 times more HP than even like 1 year ago. I think that this thread over here sums it up pretty freaking well. So there is a graph over here which represents the HP trend over the past year in MOC, and as you can see, at the start of the year about 4 million HP, and at the end of the year that's pushing about 11 million. That's 3 times the HP for single target bosses in floor 12, which is again like their Shiyu Defense equivalent. And then if we go down a little bit, there is another comment that is making comparisons. So January 2024 all the way to September, the HP is doubled for one of the bosses. And then we've got the same thing over here. Like holy moly, that is crazy HP inflation. And the reason that this has to happen is because the characters got a lot stronger, so they have to make content that is at least going to be mildly challenging for it. And so with all of that context out of the way, this is kind of where we're at, right? We're at crossroads because we have now been graced with Miyabi's presence. So the question is then, well, what now? Here's my take. And in terms of my preference, I personally really like the way that Genshin went, right? Where even characters, again, from like 3 years ago or even launch are absolutely still relevant. I get to use characters that I really like. I'm talking Raiden, I'm talking Hu Tao, and it's just really nice not having to feel that pressure to have to be like, oh, if I want to like clear full stars or whatever, I have to pull for rah. And I really hope that Zenless kind of follows this path, right? Where they're more selling for the characters themselves. And so in that case, where do I think Zenless is going? Well, first of all, the director and the team of Zenless is completely separate to that of Star Rail and Genshin's. So in that regard, honestly, assuming no intervention from like the top dogs at MiHoYoverse, it's actually a freaking coin flip. It's a freaking 50-50. We don't know which way we could go. That being said though, there is a part of me that is kind of like leaning towards them selling with characters rather than with power, right? And the reason is because like of those crazy trailers with Bernice, Jane Doe, even Miyabi, right? They've got freaking full like songs coming out and stuff. And all of this media is probably what got a lot of you to actually join the game. I'm really hoping that we go down this path. Now, I do want to address a pretty interesting take, and it's that for Zenless specifically, some people are saying, oh, Anomaly characters have completely outclassed attack class characters, and that is power creep. And it's only been like 6 months. Oh my god, power creep is freaking crazy. To that, I would actually say like yes and no, right? And my position on this is that just wait for more stuns and supports. Like a lot of soldier enthusiasts actually pulled on Lighter to make soldier stronger, and they've pretty much all said that Lighter makes her feel like a freaking god. It makes her feel like a limited S rank DPS character. Now freaking imagine a team of Evelyn, limited S rank 5 DPS, Lighter, and Astra. We've got the full hog of S rank limited units. My DGens, I would not be surprised if this team was like giga meta and performed just as well, maybe even a little bit better than our modern Anomaly teams. So again, my position is just freaking wait, just chill. We've got Astra and Evelyn coming up. We've also got like Sokaku and Lucy who need to be replaced, S rank supports, right? And only then do I think that we can really come to a conclusion and make a fair comparison between attackers and Anomaly. Until then, again, just being chilling. Now, historically, with inspiration from other games, there is another solution to addressing power creep, and it's with gearing, right? So Zenless could make more specialized gears for attackers specifically, or maybe even target specific characters like that Miyabi set that was so blatantly made for her. It's just another way that they could deal with all of this power creep. It's more in terms of, well, what do the people at Zenless want to do? It all comes down to, do they want to sell us the character or do they want to sell us the meta? Of course, it's going to be a bit of both, but which one are they going to be prioritizing? All right, and so in that case, well, what does all of this mean for you? Do not stress about it at all. Just let it play out. Don't doom post. Don't get caught up with the doom posters. Just freaking bing chilling, okay? Everything is super highly theoretical right now. Nobody knows shit. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So just chill out, collect your waifus, collect your husband dolls, collect your animals and the furry stuff. And look, if power creep goes like super ham with the HP inflation and all of that, do not worry. I'll be the first one to be kicking and screaming to let you guys know, right? That said though, that is going to bring us to the end of the video. I'm really interested to see what you guys think about this whole situation, what a post Miyabi world looks like, what a post Void Hunter world looks like. Are we going to get power crept or are we not? Let us know down in the comments below, and holy crap, just keep it civil. Like, we're just freaking talking here. We're just freaking chilling, right? There's no need to flame people and shit. It's just a game, right? We're here to have fun. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.